Welcome to the Raging Takes podcast with your hosts, Brian Dixon, Kai Zabo, and Dylan Peters.
What up, you turkeys? Welcome to episode 144 of the Raging Takes podcast. Today is Saturday, February 1st, 2025. I'm your host, Brian Dixon, joined as always by my co-host, Kai the Commissioner Zabo, and Dylan Peters. Good morning.
Salutations.
Did you just hit your funny bone, Dylan? What was that face?
I just got a cramping.
Okay.
Coffee cramps.
Coffee cramps.
Good morning. Hey, don't judge me, dude.
I was curious.
Oh, I just got a cramp. What were you doing? Podcasting.
Drinking coffee and dehydrated.
On today's show, honestly, kind of like a slow week here where we got no football going on unless you count the Pro Bowl, which I'm not going to. Are either of you guys going to watch the Pro Bowl in 2025? I'm not.
I mean, if it's just like on TV at work or whatever, I'll just throw it on. I mean, we're talking about just like the flag football game, right?
Yeah, the flag football game.
Yeah, why not? I mean, if it's just on TV and I have nothing better to do, why not?
I agree. I'll have it on in the background, maybe, perhaps. I can't promise anything. I also have basketball and hockey games that my teams are playing tomorrow too, though, so that might distract me from the Pro Bowl, unfortunately. So if it's on in the background, that's fine. I'm not going to be paying attention to it, unfortunately, though. Although, hot take, I kind of like the flag football idea. I think that's kind of like I think that's a better idea than them half-assing in football pads, personally.
Yeah, because they can definitely go harder in flag football without, like, obviously going harder.
And I think it's just enough of a twist that I think they would have fun. I think it's probably nice for them to like feel like they can go out and play football without like fearing that they're about to get drilled at any given moment. You just go out there and just run some routes, catch some balls, and it's kind of nice.
Yeah, I mean, also just the fact that the Olympic format for football is flag as well. It's kind of like good practice for those guys too. I mean, those that are actually serious about doing the Olympic format.
I hope some NFLers go over there, dude. I hope some NFLers go over there.
I think they
will.
If we don't Why not?
Destroy everybody in football, I will be so ashamed of all of them.
Like, we already know that Tyreek Hill would do it in a heartbeat, I think, right? Like, I think he knows.
I hope so.
I think he knows he would just burn.
He doesn't want to play for his own team. Does he want to go play for overseas? Wherever. Wait, where is the Olympics actually? It's in LA actually, isn't it?
The one coming up, I believe, yes.
That's in Los Angeles, right? Okay, actually, yeah.
Oh,
Why wouldn't they? Why wouldn't they? Right?
It'll be like the dream team. I know that the flag football quarterback says he's the best flag football quarterback ever, but I just got to let you know, dude. Let Kyler Murray even go out there and he will throw 9 touchdowns versus France. Anyways,
Gardner Minshew would fuck up France, dude.
Dude. If you send Kyler Murray and like Sterling Shepard to the Olympics, that would be like a 7-touchdown connection. Dude, anybody. Dude, Devontae Smith. Nobody could cover Devontae Smith.
Devontae Smith would be disgusting.
Just imagine like Devontae Smith and like T. Higgins, not like your top tier superstar, but like good enough to just destroy everybody.
T. Higgins, dude, Lad McConkey.
Yeah, Lad McConkey.
Let's not act like the rest of the world. NFL players can't cover Lad McConkey, dude. A guy from Switzerland is gonna snap his fucking whole leg, just falling over. Anyways, I probably won't watch a second of the Pro Bowl. I won't even have it on TV.
All right, there you go. Dylan's going to watch Gladiator on AMC instead.
I'm going to watch Gladiator 1 and 2 back to back, dude, without peeing.
The second one was okay, but I digress.
What a flex. Okay, so on today's show, NFL news, we're going to get to our predictions review from the beginning of the season. We did some division standings predictions and some playoff predictions. We're just going to see what we got right, what we got wrong, roast each other a little bit. Should be fun. And then at the end, we're going to do a Super Bowl draft. I'll explain more when we get there. We'll start off with some NFL news. First up, Eagles. Brandon Graham's practice window has been opened by the Eagles. He has a shot to play in the Super Bowl. How do you feel about that, Kai?
I would love that a lot because this is his last season of playing. So why not make it the most fitting game possible and play in the Super Bowl for your team and potentially win it? That would be like the most perfect send off for an illustrious career in Philadelphia.
And he's old, no?
He is
He's
very
like
old.
36.
No,
Yeah, dude, playing the Super Bowl, bro.
yeah. I mean, he's already stated this is his last season, so that's the most fitting way I can see it ending.
He's 36. Yeah,
He
he'll be
has to play
37
the
in
Super
April.
Bowl.
He's got some gray hairs in his beard, though. Like, he looks a lot older.
The thing is, do you want him to play? Because, like, how long has he been out for?
It's been out for like a month or more, I believe, right? It's been maybe even 2 months, honestly. I remember it happened during the regular season, but
I mean, they've been doing just fine without him. Do you want him to fuck up the flow of the team, potentially?
I wouldn't even say that he messes up the flow. I mean, I don't think you should throw him out there on whatever starting D-line rotation we have now, but he should definitely be in the rotation.
Playing.
I mean, yeah,
Okay.
I think he should definitely be playing. Like, he is that good on the field.
What if he just comes out there and he goes, okay, this is my first game back in a minute. This is my last ever football game. This is the Super Bowl. I'm just going to keep talking trash to Patrick Mahomes because that's what he's known for, is the trash talking. But that's not going to work on Patrick Mahomes. It's going to get him more hyped up and the Eagles lose by 40.
I mean, whether it works or not, though, I mean, you kind of want him out there anyways. I mean, I think a lot of the guys in the locker room respect him as a player and as a leader of that defensive line. You know, he's been there for so long.
Kai's a tough nut to crack. I can't get past him, dude.
Dude, it's the fucking. It was the question that turned into a stab. Let me disguise my fucking.
You guys see what I deal with here, right? Brian over here wants to constantly come at me for being an Eagles fan.
Dude,
thing is, I don't even want the Eagles to lose because that means the Chiefs win, but I also don't want the Eagles to win.
Dude, let me tell you something. Brian has hated the Eagles as long as you've been a fan of football, I think.
When did you start? When did you start actually watching football?
Dude, when we were 13, he hated the Eagles.
I didn't hate the Eagles immediately when I watched football, though, because I didn't understand the division stuff. I actually really liked the McNabb and T.O. teams those couple of years that they were together. I didn't understand the divisional rivalries yet. And then after Washington started getting beat by them every fucking year, then I'm like, oh, wait, never mind. I actually think I hate these guys a lot. And then it just went from there. So it's probably like 2006, 2007-ish. I started really hating the Eagles.
Yeah, I would say I started watching football and like understanding what it was actually about by the time of like 2002.
No, I'm
just saying, bro. I'm just saying.
You were a big Eagles fan in 2002?
Yes, I was. I remember the Raiders.
I remember Randall Cunningham back in 1980.
No. I remember that Raiders Bucks Super Bowl. I do remember that one very vividly.
I watched that one too. I just wasn't into football yet. I would watch Super Bowls. I just wasn't like hardcore into it. I didn't have any stake or knew the rules or anything like that.
Yeah.
I don't think there's a team that Brian hates more than the Eagles.
I understand that. I understand. I've understood that for many years of our friendship.
Honestly, it's year by year. Sometimes it's the Cowboys, sometimes it's the Eagles. I assume eventually it'll probably be like the Chargers. But it just hasn't gotten there yet, obviously, because I've had NFC East hate for like 15 years. They're still a little bit more high on my hate list, I guess. This year, absolutely, it's the Eagles. Next year, I can't guarantee that. It could be a different team. But obviously it should say something that I hate the Eagles a lot, and I still am not like necessarily rooting against them. I don't care. I just want a good game. I don't care who wins. This is the nightmare scenario. Before the playoffs, I said as long as it's not Chiefs Eagles, I'll be happy, and it's Chiefs Eagles. So I'm not happy. I just want a good. I just want a good football game. That's all I want.
Okay.
Next up. Also kind of Eagles related, Kellen Moore, the Eagles offensive coordinator, believed to be the favorite to land the Saints job. The game's in New Orleans. He wouldn't even have to leave the city. He could just win the Super Bowl or lose spectacularly and just drive on over to the Saints facility and sign the contract and be done with it. So the Saints are the only team left without a head coach, assuming that the Eagles or Chiefs don't move on from their head coaches, which I think Andy Reid's already said that he's not retiring yet, and Sirianni won't get fired. So the Saints are the last availability. You got apparently, Dylan, you don't like the Kellen Moore?
No, dude. If you're Kellen Moore, and with all due respect, I'm going to go forward with this statement.
Okay.
Why would you leave the bar with the ugliest girl that was there?
She's the only one left, Dylan.
Just because she's the only one there, dude, go home.
Oh, that's
go
the best.
Home.
That's the best analogy I've ever heard.
Go take a shower. Go to sleep. You'll wake up in the morning and you won't have to deal with being the Saints head coach. They're $50 million over the cap. They don't have a great draft pick. They have Spencer Rattler and Jake Hayner at quarterback. They have just lost.
And Taysom Hill.
Okay, but they have just lost
How dare you forget Taysom
their
Hill?
defensive coordinator, Dennis Allen, is gone. I'm pretty sure Pete Carmichael, their play caller, if he was still there, is not going to stick around. They've got a whole new staff and a roster that they're going to have to reconstruct just to be able to get under the cap. They can't make any moves. They're fucked, dude. They have like $50 million in dead money and no quarterback and no staff. Why would Kellen Moore take this job?
Well, they also have Derek Carr. They also have Derek Carr.
Okay, do what Ben Johnson did. Stick around for... Dude, you're going to the Super Bowl with the Eagles. You could stick around for another year. It's not going to hurt your legacy. But going and committing yourself to this dog shit franchise, they're like this close to wearing the brown paper bags over their heads and calling themselves the Aints again, dude. Don't do it.
No,
Derek Carr's better than Hayner and Rattler. First off, for sure. I know none of us are fans of him, but he is the best option there. So not including him. I'm just saying there also is rumors that he might not even be on the roster after this year. So there is a chance that he's not anyways. But also, I don't know if I fully believe that it could definitely not hurt his legacy. I think the Eagles are probably the safest bet to like be good next year. But like look at Bobby Slowick with the Texans. He stayed he was like a hot head coaching name last year, didn't get a job, stayed with the Texans, and now he got fired from the Texans. And I don't even think he has a job yet again in the NFL. So like there is a chance that you stick behind. The Eagles maybe just don't do as well next year. I don't think that's going to be the case.
Kellen Moore is getting a head coaching job, dude. Kellen Moore is getting a head coaching job.
I think next.
Don't do it, dude.
I'm fully on board.
And also, what happens next year if the Eagles are good again and they wait this long again and it's just like they can't hire until after the Super Bowl? That's why all these other teams have already.
Giants. They'll have Shadir Sanders and Malik Neighbors, and you're better off than going to coach the Saints, dude.
Yeah, I'm fully on board with Dylan here. I just think that in Kellen Moore's position, you kind of just stay another year like Ben Johnson did, wait to see what the coaching carousel looks like next season. And maybe you have a better job lined up. Like, I think Dylan's right. Like, maybe the Giants have like somewhat of a better year, but they're just tired of Brian Daboll, and that job opens up, and that would be a fantastic job, in my opinion. But yeah,
maybe
the Saints job stinks. Dylan's right. The Saints job stinks out loud. Like, don't risk your
cap space, dude, in the lack of draft capital.
Yeah, I mean, don't risk your coaching career by going to a head coaching job where they could potentially fire you within 2 years.
2 seasons.
Yeah, because the job stinks that bad. And it's like, it's that unfixable.
All right.
Yeah.
Let's move on, I guess.
Yeah.
To the predictions.
Oh, boy.
You guys want to do NFC first or AFC first?
We did AFC first last time. So, I mean, if you want to keep it in order.
All right, we'll do AFC first. So, I guess we go division by division. We start with the North. We just read off all of ours and we just compare what we got.
Yes, we did. Okay. We did North, South, East, and West.
Oh, okay, good.
It's like a compass. Compass.
So we did all the divisions
in order.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
First up, I had Ravens 1, Bengals 2, Steelers 3, and the Browns 4. Pretty close. Obviously, the Bengals and the Steelers were swapped, but I think that played out pretty decently. Honestly, I'm not too. I have some bad ones, so I'm gonna take like a small W on that one. That feels good enough. Guy.
So I had the Ravens number 1, Bengals number 2, Steelers 3, and the Browns 4.
Okay, so you too. We had the same one, Dylan.
I had the Bengals in first place. They're at 11-6, and the Ravens in second place at 11-6.
And then what? Steelers, Browns.
Steelers, Browns. Yeah, but I had the Steelers missing the playoffs.
Okay, I had both Baltimore and Cincinnati making the playoffs, and the Steelers missing as well. Yeah. All right, AFC South. I had Texans, Jaguars, Colts, Titans, which it was Texans, Colts, Jags, Titans, I think, right? Jags, yeah. So, and I had the Jaguars making the playoffs, unfortunately. That was me just trying to. I was trying to go against Dylan's hatred for T-Law, and it did not work out my way.
Actually, Brian, I'm sorry. You did not have the Jaguars making the playoffs because I have your playoff seedings right here.
I says here I have Jaguars making 7 seed.
You picked the Falcons.
Losing, and the AFC South. For the love of God.
There it is. Got it.
Thank you. Thank
I apologize.
It's okay. I forgive you.
Pride is explosive.
I know.
I had the Jaguars losing to the Jets.
That was my dyslexia kicking in.
That's okay. Your SIDS.
Yes.
Okay. Texans, Jags, Colts, Titans for me. Kai.
I had Texans, Colts, Jags, Titans. I actually had the Colts as my 7th seed. Yeah, okay. So that didn't work out. I mean, they were in contention. It didn't work out though.
You got the right order though.
I did. Yeah.
You just messed up the Colts making the playoffs.
Yeah.
DP.
I had Houston, Indy, Jacksonville, Tennessee.
Okay, so you did too.
And I actually had Houston going 10-7, and they did go 10-7.
Oh, look at that!
And also, I had Indy going 9-8, making my 7th seed, but they went 8-9 and missed the playoffs.
Almost correct.
Okay.
And then I had the Jags and the Titans winning way more games than they actually did.
I should have done records too. That's a good idea. I need to remember that for next year. We should do records.
Yeah.
Okay. AFC East.
Mm-hmm.
The Jets, the Dolphins, the Bills, the Patriots. This one might be my worst one.
I had the exact same as you.
We were all on the Jets.
Yeah.
You had the exact same guy?
Yep.
I had Jets winning, Jets winning, Bills coming in second, and the Dolphins going 8-9 and missing the playoffs, which they did.
They did, yeah, good call.
And then I had the Patriots going 4-13, which they did.
Oh, good call.
But I had the Jets winning the division, going 12-5. They actually went 5-12. That's my dyslexia. But the Bills did drastically better, but I still had the Bills making the playoffs, and that's just what it is, you know. I thought the Bills were going to drop off this year. They did not. Well, but I think that has to do with the Jets being so bad. The Bills had no competition in that division at all when we thought they would.
And the Dolphins being very injured too. And Dolphins started off bad, and then Tua got hurt, and then it was just downhill from there with Snoop Huntley and Skylar Thompson.
Well, out of all of us, Dylan, you were the only one that had the Bills making the playoffs. Me and Brian were much lower on the Bills this year. So, yeah, we had a big egg on our face for that one.
And Joey reminded us at every single turn that he could.
Of course.
Yeah. He's never been wrong before when it comes to NFL predictions. So
yeah, he's Mr. Perfect. We're going to call him Mr. Perfect.
Yeah. Sorry to the Bills fans for not it will not happen again. I fully believe in the Bills now. All right, AFC West. I had Chiefs. Here's another bad one. I had the Raiders second. It might have been my homerism coming out. Chargers third. Broncos fourth. So that not too good. But I did have Chiefs as the 1 seed. I mean, that's like the most obvious prediction of all time. But yeah, boom. Okay.
Yeah, so I had the Chiefs, the Chargers, the Raiders, and the Broncos. So I had the Raiders as the 3rd seed. So yeah, that didn't work out.
Yeah.
I had Kansas City winning, Denver, LA, Las Vegas. I didn't have any of those. I didn't have any of those other teams making the playoffs, but I did have Denver winning 8 games this year, which they exceeded that. So hats off to them. LA, they obviously exceeded my rankings by like 4 wins. And all I got to say is now the AFC is even more interesting than before.
I would say you spanked us in this division too.
Hey.
Yeah, I'd give you the W for this one for sure.
I did it drunk. All right, are we gonna go on to like seeding? Are we gonna go? Did you guys have your seeds?
I have all the seedings written down.
Okay. So my seeding was Chiefs 1, Jets 2, Texans 3, Ravens 4, Bengals 5, Dolphins 6, Jaguars 7.
Oof. Yeah, mine was Ravens as the 1 seed. I had the Texans as the 2 seed, Chiefs as the 3 seed, Jets as the 4, and then Bengals, Dolphins, Colts.
I had Kansas City 1, Jets 2, Bengals 3, Houston 4, Ravens 5, Bills 6, Colts 7.
Mm.
And then the wild card round for me went Jets beating the Jaguars. What a game that would have been. Jets Jags. Oh my God. Exciting football there. Texans over the Dolphins, and then the Bengals over the Ravens. That was my wild card round.
My wild card round for the AFC went so the number 2 Texans going up against the Colts. Texans won. Number 3 Chiefs against the number 6 Dolphins. Chiefs won. And then number 4 Jets against the number 5 Bengals. I had the Bengals winning.
My wild card round was the Jets beating the Colts. Jets at home beating the Colts. And then the Bengals hosting the Bills and winning. And then Houston hosting the Ravens and losing again in like convincing fashion like they did.
Okay. I mean, there you go. That's a well, they didn't play in the playoffs, did they? But they played it like late in the regular season and Baltimore destroyed them. So my divisional round was Bengals over Chiefs. Yeah, maybe in an alternate universe. And then Jets over Texans. So setting up a Bengals Jets AFC Championship game, 2 teams that did not make the playoffs.
Yeah, my divisional round went Bengals, Ravens, Bengals winning. Texans against the Chiefs. I had the Texans winning.
Oh man.
Yeah.
My divisional round was Kansas City hosting Baltimore and Lamar beating Patrick Mahomes in the playoffs and going to the AFC Championship.
We all had the Chiefs losing in the divisional round.
And then the Jets hosting the Bengals and the Bengals like exploding on offense and beating the Jets. Another matchup that couldn't have happened because neither team made the playoffs.
Yeah, I was going to say, Brian, when you said that we all had the Chiefs getting eliminated in the divisional round, I remember you saying in that episode, you were like, Patrick Mahomes is about to make us look so stupid in a few months.
Dude,
and here we are. Here we are.
It's the most obvious thing in the world. It happens every year.
Yep. Oh, it's my turn. Okay, yeah. So, so in that Wait.
Oh, I had Bengals Jets in the AFC Championship game. Or we already did the divisional round, right? So I had Bengals Jets in the AFC Championship game. I had the Bengals winning. Okay.
Yeah. Mine was Bengals Texans, and I had the Texans winning.
Mine was Bengals Ravens, and I had the Bengals going to the Super Bowl.
So we all picked the Bengals or the Texans out of the AFC. Not very good, guys. Not very good.
Yeah.
Okay, over to the NFC now. Starting with the NFC North, I had the Lions, the Packers, the Bears, and the Vikings. That's another bad one. I had the Vikings last. I had the Bears making the playoffs as the 7th seed.
All right.
So my NFC North went. I had the Packers, Packers, Lions, Bears, Vikings.
I had Packers, Lions, Bears, Vikings, and I had Packers and Lions both making the playoffs. I did not have Chicago even having a winning season. They did much worse than I could have expected.
Yeah, we all had Bears as 3, and we all had Vikings as 4.
All of us having Vikings as 4 is bad, yeah. But we didn't expect Sam Darnold to do that, though.
I mean, hey, let's be real. The majority of America had the Vikings as one of the worst teams in that division, so no one saw that coming.
Yeah. The NFC South now, I had the Falcons, the Bucks, the Saints, the Panthers. Pretty close, almost. I mean, the Falcons were down to the last day of the season, almost.
Yeah.
So
mine was the exact same as yours.
I had Bucks, Falcons, Saints, Panthers. I had the Bucks going 10-7 and winning the division. They did. I thought the Falcons would be more competitive this year. I had them going 10-7 and basically losing by division record or head-to-head to the Buccaneers, which looked like was going to happen for a while there, but then the Falcons completely fell off. I mean, the Saints going 8-9.
I was going to say your NFC South was perfect.
No, because the Saints and the Panthers kind of tied at the end.
Well, who technically got the 3 and the 4?
Well, the Panthers came in third place.
The Panthers, I think, got
okay.
So technically, okay.
Almost perfect then.
Honestly, who knows? The Falcons may have made a little bit of a run if they would have started Penix earlier in the season. Honestly, he came in and did a really decent job, honestly, for the circumstances. NFC East time, I had Eagles, Cowboys, Commanders, Giants.
Yeah, mine was the exact same.
Yeah.
Actually, all three
Eagles,
of us.
Cowboys, Commanders, Giants. I have here the dead name of the Washington franchise written down for some reason.
Washington football team?
The deader name. So, yeah, I had them winning 7 games, though. I thought they'd be better than like a last place, like 4-win team, which I think a lot of people maybe thought they had written all over them to start the season. But, man, I got to tell you, the Commanders winning 12 games this season and making the NFC East very competitive and kind of scary for the Eagles and the Cowboys. Commanders being relevant is very scary for those teams that are used to being on the.
Well, yeah, I mean, we don't know until next season. Obviously, the Cowboys could make a comeback here and be competitive again next year because obviously, Dak coming back is a good thing. I know people like to hate on him, but he's still like in the top half of quarterbacks in the league, in my opinion. There's not like that many great quarterbacks out there. I think that the Cowboys will probably be a little bit better, but just the vibes coming out of that team right now are just not good. So we'll just see how Brian Schottenheimer is, I guess. Because I feel like Jerry Jones is becoming a dark cloud over the franchise. So we'll see. You're right. The Commanders being relevant again, I think is bad specifically for the Cowboys because I think the Eagles got at least a couple more years left in this window that they have. So
yeah, I mean, and also the Giants could be just another a good off season or two away from being relevant again too.
Yeah, we'll see how the quarterback situation goes.
Mm-hmm.
NFC West. I had Niners, Cardinals, Rams, Seahawks. Not very good.
All three of us had the same thing.
Yeah. I believe that is the actual opposite of what happened. Oh, wait, no, I had the Rams third. Yeah, so still not very good. Not very good from us.
Mine are flipped, yeah, because the Rams and the Seahawks finished with 10-7, and the Cardinals and the 49ers finished with a losing record. So it is kind of upside down.
The wild card round, I had Bears at Lions, Lions win. I had Cowboys at Falcons, Falcons win. And then I had Packers at Eagles, Packers win. So not very good. Guy?
So you're talking about our seeding now?
Oh, I forgot about the seeding. I had Niners 1, Lions 2, Falcons 3, Eagles 4, Packers 5, Cowboys 6, Bears 7. So just your seeding and then your wild card round. So I jumped the gun.
Yeah, my seeding was the Packers number 1, Niners number 2, Eagles number 3, Falcons number 4, Lions 5, Cowboys 6, Bears 7. And then my wild card round went 49ers beat the Bears, Eagles beat the Cowboys, and then Lions beat the Falcons.
Okay.
My seedings were Niners 1, Eagles 2, Packers 3, Bucks 4, Cowboys 5, Lions 6, Falcons 7. My wild card round was the Eagles stomping the dog shit out of the Falcons. The Packers hosting the Lions and the Lions winning in Green Bay would have been a great story. The Bucks host Cowboys and the Cowboys beat the Buccaneers in the playoffs.
Again.
Didn't happen.
Nope.
And the Niners just straight up didn't make the playoffs.
Yeah. Were they all of our 1 seed?
Yeah.
No,
my division.
The Packers were my 1 seed.
Yeah, the Packers. That's right.
Yeah.
Divisional round for me. Sorry. Divisional round for me. Packers versus Niners. I had the Packers winning. And then the Falcons versus the Lions. I had the Lions winning, which would have set up a Packers at Lions NFC Championship game.
I had the Lions over the Packers and the Eagles over the Niners.
I had the Niners. The Lions over the Niners. And then I had the Eagles over the Cowboys.
Okay.
It would be the Eagles hosting the Lions in the NFC Championship.
I had the Lions beating the Packers, which means Lions-Bengals Super Bowl.
Yeah, I had the Eagles beating the Lions.
I had the Eagles beating the Lions. So for me, it would be an Eagles-Bengals Super Bowl.
Then I had the Lions winning, and I had the Super Bowl MVP as Jahmyr Gibbs. Maybe in another life.
I believe I had the Bengals winning the Super Bowl, and I would have had to have said I would have picked
Jabura.
No, I remember what you said. You said T. Higgins.
I did?
Oh.
You did say T. Higgins, yes.
Interesting. So that didn't happen regardless, but I still have the Eagles in the Super Bowl.
Yeah. I had the Eagles winning the Super Bowl against the Texans, and I said Jalen Hurts.
Okay.
You could still technically be right about it. Eagles win and a Jalen Hurts MVP.
Yeah, true. Yeah, we'll see.
So should we say if the Eagles win, then Kai is the predictions champion here? And if they don't win, I think Dylan is, honestly. I think I'm last here. I think I was the worst one for sure.
I mean, I imagine a Super Bowl win would count for the most points in some kind of system like that.
All right. So, and I mean, this is just a dog shit prize here, but if the Eagles win, we will crown Kai as the champion of the predictions. And if the Eagles don't win, I think Dylan wins by a lot, honestly. He had a lot of the division stuff like right on. So
yeah, he did. Yeah.
And I had the fucking Raiders in second place in the AFC West, for God's sake. So
yeah.
Okay. There it is. There's our predictions review. Honestly, I don't know. I was actually kind of impressed with some of the predictions that Dylan pulled off. That was pretty good.
Yeah.
The specific records and stuff like that, that was pretty impressive. So
I put some time into it. I was still wrong about a lot of stuff.
Everyone's going to be wrong about predictions, at least one, you know? So yeah, I thought that was pretty impressive, though. So, all right, next up, Super Bowl draft. Okay, so this is how this is going to go. It's a snake draft, of course, like always. Dylan's going to have the number 1 pick. Kai's going to have number 2. I'm going to have number 3. We can each draft 2 Super Bowl MVPs, a best Super Bowl, just a Super Bowl that you consider like an all-timer, a classic one, a bad Super Bowl, one that you consider to be like a blowout or just boring in general, and then a Super Bowl moment, like an iconic play or moment from the Super Bowl. This is not like you have to pick MVPs first. You can pick any category at any time. There's a little bit of strategy to it. Like, for instance, if 2 people have already taken like a moment, the third person could, maybe save that one for a little bit and pick, value from another one. There's strategy to it. So just keep that in mind. However you want to do it. If you want to do it only Super Bowls that you've watched, cool. If you want to do Super Bowls from before we were born, that's also cool too. I have no rules against that or anything like that. Okay.
All right.
So we'll start off. Can we get an NFL draft soundbite here real quick, Kai?
Yes.
Dylan, you are on the clock. Let me write down here.
Write it down.
I should probably write these down here.
On the clock, Dylan.
You can go ahead and pick.
My reasoning behind this is I'm picking first, and then there will be several picks until my next pick.
Yes.
So I have to kind of weigh what I'm going to do here. What's the most valuable pick here? And for me, right now, the most valuable pick is greatest Super Bowls ever.
Okay.
So I'm going to pick my best Super Bowl. And it's one that I've seen, and I think it stands up to every other Super Bowl that's ever been played. And that is Super Bowl 43. That is Steelers Cardinals. Now, this game had so many moments in it that you can't even pick the best one. But Santonio Holmes had one of the most clutch catches in Super Bowl history during this game. Larry Fitzgerald had a good play. James Harrison had a good play. These are all in contention for the picks later on. And this all happened in one game. So for me, it's an easy choice. Super Bowl 43.
Yeah, that's been in one of my best football games of all time now for like 15 years. Like my top 3 since I was a kid, honestly, this hasn't changed, have been the first Giants-Pats Super Bowl, that Super Bowl, and then the Texas USC national championship game, I think are the 3 best football games I've ever watched. So yeah, that was absolutely on my board. It was one of the first best Super Bowls I thought of for sure. So I probably would have picked that if you hadn't. So that's good. That was a really good first pick. Kai?
All right. So for my first pick here, a little bit of a homer one, but it's a pretty damn good one though too. Nick Foles as my Super Bowl MVP. Just the story behind that whole Super Bowl. Took over in the playoffs, like basically end of season going into postseason. Had one of the best runs by a playoff quarterback ever, and then beat Tom Brady in the Super Bowl in a very high scoring close contest.
That's a great one. Obviously, one that I assume that you were probably going to pick. So it wasn't one I was going to pick. So that's a good one for you to have. You didn't like steal one from me, so I feel good about it. I also expected you to have that one. I think it's a good pick. Honestly, I think it's a really good pick. It's unique. No one, if you would have told people that Nick Foles was going to be a Super Bowl MVP someday when he was like on the Rams, no one would have ever believed you. Or was he on the Bears for a little bit too before he went back to the Eagles?
And the Jags.
Yeah, so he like bounced around for a little bit, went back to the Eagles, and then when Carson Wentz went down, it was like, oh well, the Eagles season is over. Not so fast, my friend. Here comes Big Dick Nick over here.
He went to the Bears after.
Oh, was it after?
He did,
I believe, yeah.
Okay. Okay, so that makes my pick
Back to
103.
back.
I have back-to-back here. I'm going to go Super Bowl MVP, and I'm going to go the obvious one, Tom Brady.
Which one?
Yeah, which one?
So I'm going to go with, you know what? Let me look at these stats here real quick. I have one in mind, but I also am like hesitant to do it because I also think there was somebody else that probably could have gotten MVP that game. No, I'll go the he won in the Falcons one, right? I want the Falcons one. I want the 28-3 one.
That was
New England, it was LI. So what was that, 51?
Yeah, that's okay. That's a good one. He threw for 466 yards and 2 touchdowns.
And that was like the first overtime game in Super Bowl history, and it was 28-3.
Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah.
I want that one. I want Brady and the Falcons Super Bowl.
So Super Bowl 51, yeah. And then your next pick.
Okay, and then on the turn, this one is interesting here. Thank you. So I could do best Super Bowls. I have so many moments that I think I'll hold off on moments. I literally have like 11 moments that I could choose from here. I'll go best Super Bowls. Since Dylan already took one of my favorite Super Bowls of all time, I'll pick the other one that I mentioned that is one of my favorite Super Bowls of all time, and that is the Giants versus Patriots, the first one in the 2007 season. In January 2008, the Patriots were undefeated. They looked like they were going to go, perfect 18-0 or no 19-0. And cap off the first 19-0 season of all time. They did not, because Eli Manning went down there and beat the GOAT in the Super Bowl. I think that was Brady's first Super Bowl loss too, I believe, right? Mm-hmm. So it was just like, honestly, and like the game itself, I think it was 17-10 New York. It's not like one of the more exciting, high-scoring football games of all time, but the stakes and the theatrics and 42. The dramatics.
Yeah, that was 1 year before the one that Dylan picked.
Yeah, they were like back-to-back years. So yeah. Super Bowl 42, Giants over the Patriots.
All right. And now it's back to me. Let's see. So I already picked the Super Bowl MVP. I'm just going to get the bad Super Bowl game out of the way right now, because there's not too many bad ones in my opinion. But so Super Bowl 48, Seattle versus Denver. There's a lot of hype coming into that game. Denver was rocking, I believe, the number one offense that season, and they got completely destroyed by Seattle, 43-8 in that Super Bowl. Seattle was rocking the Legion of Boom during that time. There was so much hype during that Super Bowl, and it was just so deflating.
Can you move your cursor for me? Never mind. Sorry, I'm having fucking technical difficulties here trying to write this list out. So you said Broncos over Seahawks? Seahawks over Broncos? Is that the one you picked?
Yeah, Super Bowl 48 in 2014.
Super Bowl 48.
XXXVII
versus Broncos. Worst. Okay. Dylan, you're up now.
All right. So I think it might be time for me to pick at least one Super Bowl MVP.
Okay.
And I know I have back-to-back picks, but I have to get one down because you know what? We're going to go with a little bit of recency bias here. We don't want to go too far back with it. You want to kind of keep it in that wheelhouse of people remember these games. And if there's one that I'm really going to pick, and maybe this is a reach, maybe this is not what we kind of expect, but I'm going to go Super Bowl 50, Von Miller. Now this was a game where Cam Newton had won the MVP that year. He was the most dominant player in the NFL, and that Broncos defense made him look like he wasn't even ready to know what he wanted for breakfast that day. Like, it seemed like he was just completely thrown off this entire game. And Von Miller was a huge part of that. That dude was just all in his face. Tackles for loss. I mean, 2.5 sacks in the Super Bowl against Cam Newton is huge.
Yeah.
And I just remember Von Miller single-handedly taking that game into his own hands. He wanted that Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
And I know it's not a popular pick. It's not an offensive pick. But when a defensive player can win Super Bowl MVP, that means a lot.
It was not on my list, but that doesn't mean I didn't think of it. I actually I love that pick. I think it's great. I just knew I wouldn't pick it, so I didn't put it on my list. I think that's really good, honestly.
Yeah.
Von Miller balled out that game.
He did. And so I have a back-to-back pick here.
Yes.
So now I have greatest moments, and I have another MVP, or I have worst Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
So what I'm going to say is I think there's a lot of bad Super Bowls. Kai picked one that I might have picked. Well, I'm going to go back to the one that we kind of shadowed here earlier in the episode. Is the Super Bowl X, was that 37?
Let me see.
37 Buccaneers, Oakland Raiders. I'm picking that game because I was hyped up for this game. I was loving it. I thought this was going to be a great game, and it just turned into one of the biggest drubbings in NFL history in a Super Bowl. I mean, the Raiders didn't come into that game prepared. That Tampa Bay defense completely tore them apart and dropped almost 50 points on them. And it was like a shell shock to the Raiders fan base. I just remember that being like a terrible game. I think it ruined the Raiders ever since. They have never been the same.
Yeah, I remember that one because I think that was one of the last years they had Rich Gannon, and they'd never had a good quarterback after that for a while.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna mark that down as, and I think it really was one of the worst Super Bowls. It was so one-sided, and it wasn't like the I don't mean to knock your pick, Kai, but the Seahawks Broncos Super Bowl. It seemed like the Broncos were snake bitten in that game.
Oh, of course,
the snap goes
the
over
his
his head,
the safety,
and then
the
opening. Didn't they return the touchdown for the halftime kickoff? Seattle did.
I believe so. Yeah,
it was like
Percy Harvin.
Percy Harvin, dude. Yeah.
Shout out.
But both of these games were just so awful, and I'm definitely okay with having this as my worst Super Bowl.
Okay. Go ahead, Kai. You're up next. Third round pick. So just to review, you have Nick Foles MVP, and you have the worst Super Bowl Seahawks versus Broncos.
Yep. I think I'm just gonna take another Super Bowl MVP right now. And oh man. You know what? I think I'm gonna go with Ray Lewis.
Oh, okay. So I think he has two, doesn't he?
No, just one.
No, just the one.
Yeah,
it was the first one when they won in 2000. Who won?
That was Ray Lewis.
Well,
he won in 2012 as well. Oh no, he didn't. I thought. Okay. Oh, that was Ray Lewis's last game, is what I'm thinking.
Yes,
that's why it was important.
I'm talking about the Ravens' first Super Bowl. Yeah, Ray Lewis, as you know, with that Ravens team, it was a very defensive team. Trent Dilfer as a quarterback on offense. It was not an offensive team whatsoever. That defense was like one of the first teams I remember watching football. I was like, damn, that defense got them to the Super Bowl and won it. And Ray Lewis was a huge part of that game as well. So yeah, Ray Lewis.
Okay, that's a good one. Okay, third round pick for me. So just to review, I have Tom Brady Super Bowl MVP, and then I have Giants over Patriots for best Super Bowl. So I can do a worst Super Bowl, a moment, or another MVP. I'm going to do another MVP. Wait. No, I'll do. You guys both have worst Super Bowls already, right? So I'm going to save that one, actually.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, fuck it. I'll do another MVP. I'll just do the other obvious one. I had one that I was saving in my back pocket for when one of you guys picked this guy. I thought you guys would, but I'll just take him if he's still on the board. Patrick Mahomes. I'll just take Patrick Mahomes, and I'll take the one against the Eagles, I guess. I think they're all about the same, I would say, but yeah, I'll take the one against the Eagles. I think that was the best game. It's between that one and the 49ers game. They're both really good, but I think the Eagles versus Chiefs is probably one of the better Super Bowls, honestly, that we've seen in our lifetime. So I'll take that one, Patrick Mahomes.
Okay. Is it back to me, or you have back to back?
No, I have another one, and then I will go. I guess I'll just say worst for last, since you guys both already have it. I'll go moments. And there are so many here to choose from, dude. I'll just pick. I'm going to go back to the Patriots Giants one. This is the best play I've ever seen. The helmet catch.
Yeah.
That's the best catch in NFL history. And David Tyree, I believe, did not play another game in the NFL after that Super Bowl. I don't even think he was on the Giants roster the next year. I think that's how insignificant he was as an NFL player. Sorry, David Tyree. But he now is just lives in history forever, making one of the most iconic plays in NFL history. So I'm going helmet catch.
Okay. I think I'm just going to get my good Super Bowl game out of the way right now. And I'm going to pick the Eagles' first Super Bowl win against the Patriots. It was a high scoring affair. A lot of great moments. Good storyline. Underdog victory. Yeah, give me the Eagles' first Super Bowl win against the Patriots.
Over Pat's best Super Bowl. Okay.
That was 52.
Okay. DP, you're up.
Now I'm just gonna choose Super Bowl moment here, and this will be my homer pick. But it's Devin Hester opening return.
I had that
touchdown return. The kickoff return. I feel like that was not only his best moment, but that was his best return.
That was Super Bowl 41, if I believe.
Yeah. So the initial move that Devin Hester made to create the space for himself to move is one of the most athletic, best moves I've ever seen, because the dude's running full speed and then just shifts his hips one way and then hop steps immediately the other way and takes off to make everybody freeze. And then he took off, and the dude took off so fast, nobody even touched him. Devin Hester is the king of untouched kickoff returns, and that one was untouched until the very end. And I'm just I almost stomped a hole in the floor when that shit happened. I was so excited.
And back then, I mean, that was Hester. He had a lot of really good seasons. I think his rookie year was his best season, though, as a professional. And the talk was, are you going to kick it to him? Kickoffs are hard, obviously. You kind of have to kick it to him. But they kicked it right to him, and he just made him pay immediately. So that was just such an epic moment. That was definitely on my list. It's a shame that the Bears didn't do slightly better with the final score, because I feel that moment gets a little bit forgotten. But it's still I think it was the first opening kickoff return in NFL history in the Super Bowl, right?
You never saw. So if you go back and watch the highlights of that specific play, there has never been more camera flash in the crowd of an NFL stadium before than during that kickoff. If you go back and watch, dude, it's never ending camera flashes, people catching pictures of Devin Hester making history. So it is a little bit lost, but not in the eyes of football fans, Bears fans, people that love great moments, because it's never been recreated. And we'll see if it ever happens again. But this just leads me to my next pick. Yeah. And this is my last Super Bowl MVP, which is kind of hard, I think. But I don't know if I want to double dip, but I might double dip with my best Super Bowl of all time. Now, I don't know if this will be a bad strategy or a good strategy, but I'm going to pick Santonio Holmes.
Okay.
9 catches, 130 yards, 1 yard, and a game-sealing touchdown.
Hilarious.
And Super Bowl 43. Dude, that was one of the best plays.
It's funny NFL because history. Literally...
He was on my list.
Literally, my last pick right now, which is most iconic play, I was going to pick the Santonio Holmes catch over the Philly special. Yeah, so you picked Santonio.
You had MVP though, right, Dylan? Santonio Holmes MVP? Okay.
Yeah, so my iconic play is going to be that touchdown toe tap by Santonio Holmes in that game. That was probably one of the most iconic, recent, clutch catches in Super Bowl history, like triple coverage on that play, corner of the end zone. Ben Roethlisberger said, "Screw it, I'm just going to throw it," and Santonio Holmes got it.
Very good. I had both Santonio Holmes as MVP and the touchdown on my list for sure on my draft board. So I think both of those are excellent picks.
Yeah, I chose it over the Philly special. I was like, even though the Philly special was cool, but it was just like, I would be so remiss not to mention that.
Also, you would just have all Eagles if you would have picked the Philly special, basically.
That's true, yeah.
I had the Philly special as well on my draft board. Okay, so my last pick, I just need the worst Super Bowl, and I'm going to go, this is, in my personal opinion, the worst Super Bowl of all time. Patriots over Rams. I think it was 13-3.
I felt like it was too obvious.
I mean, that is by far, I think that's even worse than the Broncos Seahawks one, because that one was on my list. Don't get me wrong. It was probably my second pick.
I took a nap.
But at least like we got some action. Like there were like the fumbled snap. The Seahawks were doing really good. Like there were big moments in that game. Can you remember a single moment from the Rams versus Patriots? Because I sure can't.
I mean, just some clutch catches by Julian Edelman here and there.
Yeah, he won MVP in that game, I believe, right? And what was his 10 catches, 141 yards? So like, was he like the lone person that did anything in that game? Potentially, I guess. So yeah, that one is going to be my worst Super Bowl. Pats versus Rams, worst Super Bowl. All right. So just for review, we'll read off our teams. I'll go first. I had Tom Brady, MVP. I had Giants versus Patriots 1 as a best Super Bowl. I had Patrick Mahomes as my second Super Bowl MVP. I had the helmet catch as my best moment. And I had Patriots versus Rams as the worst Super Bowl.
All right. Yeah, so I had Nick Foles as my first Super Bowl MVP. I had Ray Lewis in 2001 as my second Super Bowl MVP. I had the Eagles' first Super Bowl win as my good Super Bowl game. And then as my bad Super Bowl game, I had the Seahawks over the Broncos. And then my iconic play was the Santonio Holmes touchdown.
Touchdown.
Toe touchdown.
My best Super Bowl and my first pick was Super Bowl 43, Steelers beating the Cardinals. My Super Bowl MVP was Von Miller, Super Bowl 50. My worst Super Bowl was Bucks over Raiders in Super Bowl 37. My moment was Devin Hester's kickoff return for a touchdown to open Super Bowl 41. Santonio Holmes was my other Super Bowl MVP for the same Super Bowl 43. And is that it? Yeah, that's it, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Yep. All right. So I guess we'll put this out on a poll. One of us can make like a graphic or something. Kai, you or me can make like something on Canva, put it out on Twitter, Instagram, whatever. See who wins this matchup. Hopefully some people vote. If you hear this, go vote. Go to our Twitter, go vote.
Rock the vote. And
we'll see either on Tuesday or Saturday or whatever. We'll see who we think won here. Honestly, I think all of our drafts were pretty good.
Yeah.
Most of the picks that we picked were on my draft board for sure. So honorable mentions. I don't know if you guys have any, but I got a few. Best Super Bowls, I had Falcons versus Patriots, the 28-3 game. That was a great one.
Mm-hmm.
Patriots versus Seahawks, the Malcolm Butler interception, which also was a moment that I had on my draft board. Chiefs versus Eagles, Niners versus Chiefs, the second one, the one last year. And then Patriots versus Panthers back in the day. Adam Vinatieri kicking the game-winning field goal at the end. Worst Super Bowls, I had the Buccaneers versus the Chiefs from a few years ago when Tom Brady just smushed Patrick Mahomes.
Mm-hmm.
And then I also had Broncos versus Panthers, where the Panthers just didn't show up to work that day. The Super Bowl MVPs, I had Eli versus the Patriots. That was the one I had in my back pocket in case one of you guys picked Mahomes. Deion Branch had a big game back in the day when it was, I think that was Patriots versus Eagles in 2004, I want to say, I think was that Super Bowl. Joe Montana, I mean, and when in doubt, you just go with Joe Montana, right? So he was on my board. And then moments, I had James Harrison, the pick, Santonio Holmes catch, 28-3. Oh, we picked Santonio Holmes, but 28-3 comeback, the Philly special, that Julian Edelman catch that he made against the against the Falcons, the really cool one. Malcolm Butler interception, the blackout at the Superdome for 49ers versus Ravens. What a moment that was. The Mario Manningham catch in the second Patriots Giants Super Bowl. Tracy Porter's interception against the Colts. Kevin Dyson getting tackled at the 1 yard line against the Rams. And then Doug Williams throwing 4 touchdowns in the second quarter against the Broncos back in the day for the Redskins.
Honorable mention for moments is James Harrison's pick 6 in that same Super Bowl 43. Larry Fitzgerald's long touchdown in that same Super Bowl 43.
That was crazy, yeah.
I mean, all of this game was just full of all the best moments. Also picked for all the worst Super Bowls of all time was all the ones that the Bills have played in. And yeah, dude, I'm just being honest. Terrell Davis with the Broncos back in the day had a really big game as a running back. Not a lot of running backs win Super Bowl MVP, so good on him. Jerry Rice in Super Bowl, was it 23? 11 catches, 215 yards, and a touchdown. Doug Williams the year before that, just we're kind of blessed with good Super Bowls. And then the year after Jerry Rice was Joe Montana with his epic Super Bowl MVP. Yeah. So those 3 years, best Super Bowls, I would have to say probably the Patriots-Eagles one.
That was a good one, yeah.
That was a good high-scoring game.
Mm-hmm.
But other than that, not a lot. I do like the Super Bowl moments, though. There's a lot more than we give credit for. There's a
for
lot
sure.
Yeah.
I really just have like some MVPs, like Malcolm Smith, the Seahawks' first Super Bowl in recent memory. Like that's an
interesting one.
That's a crazy performance. Like a pick 6, a fumble recovery, and 10 tackles. Like, God, you were everywhere.
When I think of Malcolm Smith, there's a moment in the Super Bowl press conference after the game where he's got like the Super Bowl winner shirt on and the hat on, and like some guy bum rushes the stage and starts screaming about how 9/11 was an inside job, and Malcolm Smith's like, "What the fuck?" Every time I think of Malcolm Smith, I just think of that. I'm like, this is like the most random Super Bowl MVP of all time, and he had his moment fucking ruined by some dude.
Yeah. And then I just guess like Super Bowl MVP is like just going back to like really old times. Like Terry Bradshaw, though, like I didn't realize he threw 300 yards and like 17 completions in both of those Super Bowl MVPs. Like that's wild work.
Dude, he had like one of the best fucking wide receiver cores in NFL history, honestly.
I know. It's just that's crazy work to just like throw it like so few times and just get that kind of yardage.
Back when he had Franco Harris, didn't have to throw the ball too much. Did Terry Bradshaw won what, 4 Super Bowls as a quarterback?
It was a lot, dude.
Yeah. And two MVPs.
Okay.
Yeah, he won 4 Super Bowls. Yeah.
Well, that was fun.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was.
We'll have to figure out something else to do on Tuesday. So we got one more, and then on Saturday next week we'll obviously preview the Super Bowl and whatnot, and take a look at maybe our award predictions that we did, as I think NFL Honors is that night. So I don't think we'll know at the time of recording, but at least we can kind of like prepare ourselves to what we had before going into the award show. So, okay. As always, you can find us at Raging Takes everywhere: Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, YouTube. You can email us ragingtakes@gmail.com. I'm at Montana Sauce on Twitter. Kai is at RTP Kai. Dylan is at Such a Wise Fool, and we'll see you on Tuesday.